Hey everyone, welcome to Pet Business Club podcast. Today we have a really special guest, JJ, joining us here. He's working on a really cool product. It's a vet technology SaaS platform. And I will let JJ do the introduction because there is no way in the world I'm going to be able to do the product justice.
Thank you so much for having me on today. I'm really excited to be here. I have been working on this product for a long time, and we're finally finishing up the actual development of it, which is really exciting. And we're working on integration now. And essentially, what we're building is a bifold platform for pet owners and veterinarians that essentially connects pet owners and veterinarians and streamlines all of the information, you know, the passage of information between them. So for pet owners, we do things like create systems of accountability. You have access to all of your pet's medical records. We can guide best practice, and we can kind of bridge that divide also, where you'll have access to your veterinarian and streamlined channels of communication. And for clinics, we make booking a breeze and we offload a lot of that work from the actual backs of the care practitioners, the vets, vet techs, and people at the front desk. We make the discharge reports digestible and easy so that it's easy for anybody to understand, and the steps that you're supposed to take to improve your pet's health are actionable and totally simple. And we have a very powerful system of file retrievals. So whereas right now a lot of different clinics are using paper records, they're using these very rudimentary systems. Ours is, we have basically like a turbo search, so you could kind of get whatever you seek, and we have transferable and frictionless data storage. So if you want to access records that are from different clinics that are um, from way back when, what have you. If your pet switches owners, we make all of that easy.
It's really crazy that we're having this conversation now because just before this, to get ready for summer travels, me and my husband were kind of like looking at all of our like Google, like, Gmail and Google Drive, both like both of us have a couple of emails. So we're just kind of like going into all these different accounts and we're like, where the heck is Birdie's second rabies shot? It's like there's some really specific information that we as pet owners are being requested from vets, especially to be able to travel like across borders, right? So I feel like that could be such an interesting use case if we just had everything in one place, especially for these pet parents who, perhaps have moved or tried out different vets. And so their records are not all in one place. I can see like so much value in this product. So why don't we back up for a second? Tell us about yourself and your background. I know we know each other from Penn,
Mhm.
which is where we both went to school. But what kind of experience or inspiration led you to start Spoodle, which is what the platform's
Yeah.
called, right?
Mhm. Yeah. So I've been a pet lover my entire life. I've been an animal lover my entire life. My dog Leo is kind of the center of the world for my family. He is a bed in every single house. He or every single room in the house. Um, we all have shirts with his name and his face on them, and so he's always kind of been on the forefront of my mind. Even when I was at school, that's constantly what I was thinking of. I was an undergrad at Penn. I graduated from the college with a degree in communications in 2023, and the only downside of going to Penn was I couldn't be with Leo. Um, but
Oh,
while I was at Penn, I remember in COVID there was an instance where Leo almost ran out of our driveway, and I was thinking it doesn't matter that he has an air tag on his collar. Somebody at the end of the street should know immediately that he just ran out, and that kind of got me thinking about an idea for like an Amber Alert for pets. And then I kind of, one of my good friends that I lived with at school adopted a cat in COVID, and he's a brilliant guy, but he was totally humbled by cat fatherhood, and he didn't know how to make sense of it. He didn't know what appointments he had to book, what food should he buy, what do these behaviors mean, and I was kind of thinking if this guy can't hack it, then that can't be a unique experience. And so both of these things kind of got me thinking about. I'll back up a little bit further. I had tried to start a company before that, probably at the beginning of COVID, which was a essentially like a vetting system for different news stories and things like that. So trying to, identify neutral news. There's a company that I really like called Ground News that does something very similar to what I was trying to do at the time. And I love the journey. And I was like, okay, I would really like to try to start a company and I would really like to try to build something. And so that was kind of on the forefront of my mind. And between those two things, I'm lucky enough to have, one of the greatest vet schools and an amazing, amazing animal hospital and Ryan Animal Hospital in my backyard at school. So I just sent a bunch of cold emails, and I'm currently building it with my buddy Sachin, who I've lived with and who I've known for 3 years before we thought of this. And we just started talking to different people there, and we had a bunch of amazing conversations, and we realized there are a bunch of administrative issues, and a lot of these people who know about these issues are they want to practice vet care. They don't necessarily want to solve these issues, and the people who have the capability to solve these issues might not know about them from the point of view of veterinarians. And so we figured, hey, this is totally different than kind of what we were researching, but I mean, this could be a slam dunk.
Yeah, I love this. And it's such a great time to be starting a pet business because now we're just getting into a world where more and more people are having pets instead of babies. And these same pet parents treat their fur babies as their true child who they love and prioritize overall. So the timing is really ripe. And as you and your co-founder were kind of starting to brainstorm and starting to think about the landscape, did you do any competitor research, and what does it look like right now? Like what kind of vet tech is out there that vets are
Mhm.
using?
Yeah, so that was that, in my opinion, is one of the hardest parts of just entrepreneurship as a whole, because it's really fun to have great ideas and it's really painstaking to figure out if other people have had those great ideas before. And so we did a bunch of competitive research to make sure we kind of weren't barking up the wrong tree. And what you have is you have these, at the absolute worst, you have paper records and you have printed out discharge reports, if that, and you have for systems of accountability, stuff that you put on the fridge. At the absolute highest tech, there are platforms that have apps that go along with them and stuff like that. But a lot of that data is just very siloed. So if you need to take it and transfer it anywhere else, it's just as hard as if there were paper records. And so and really, it's not every single day that you need access to all of your pet's data and all of their information, but when you do, it's incredibly painstaking, and sometimes it's even like a life or death situation if you have to take your pet to the emergency room or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. So you have probably 10 or 15 different PIMS softwares, which are like practice management softwares basically. So they kind of mirror what would be basically just only Epic records for, or Epic Healthcare for, human healthcare. And then you have a bunch of software that kind of sits on top of that. And so our platform works in conjunction with these PIMS softwares. And so we integrate with them, and the state is managed. So if we change a record, it's changed there and vice versa. And we kind of act as like a middleware solution.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
So if a vet that you approach is already on some kind of software for all of this that they need, then does your kind of where you come in just an API integration with, and then the main interface is between Spoodle and the pet parents who can draw information from all of these different vets. So your primary focus, it sounds like, is the consumer.
Bingo. But we also provide a platform that basically beefs up a lot of the PIMS softwares that are out there. So our focus is absolutely on the consumer, but we also see a lot of value created from something like this is existing for clinics, and we save them a lot of time, and we're able to make their lives significantly easier as well.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And so you found this company and started working on it with your co-founder
I
when?
would say we really started getting good traction, and the idea looked the way it looks now starting 2 years ago. So I graduated in 2023, and my senior year was when the wheels really started turning. And before that, it was, emails and Google Docs and spitballing. But yeah, I would say 2 years has been like the full modern life cycle of the company.
Okay, cool. And so you're kind of the business and the customer facing person, and it sounds like your co-founder might be the
So
developer.
we both have done some development, and we have an amazing founding engineer on the team as well, who hasn't been with us since the inception, and who we started working with towards the end of kind of the R&D cycle. And we've been bootstrapping, so we've been built. And my co-founder and I are both somewhat technical, so we basically built up to the point where we realized we need to bring in some muscle here, and that's when we met some really incredible people who were a couple years younger than us at Penn, and one who is at Georgetown, and we brought them in. So they handle a lot of the technical development, and we kind of
Okay.
we supplement that with some offshore development as well. So some contractors.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. Okay, sounds good. So it sounds like there's like one lead and then like one other person supporting them, and then also the offshore team. That sounds like a really good setup
Mhm.
so far. And so I imagine now the most important thing is, how do you launch that MVP and test it on the initial group of customers? How has the outreach on the vet side and on the consumer side been looking like?
So I would say it's with the outreach on the consumer side is significantly easier because everybody knows somebody with a pet or is somebody with a pet. And so, the sample size of all of the people who would be interested in something like this or who would have, valuable insight is just super high. I mean, that's just basically going through my phone's contact list and then also just all the places that Leo goes. And that's my dog, Leo. And I would say the more difficult outreach is on the side of reaching out to people who are care practitioners, because one of the problems we're trying to solve is they are super overburdened by all of the administrative troubles they have, so they don't have a ton of time for research and development
Mm.
calls. And we've found that we found a lot of success going through the Penn network and also just reaching out to vets locally in the New York metro area, as well as warm introductions. So like we have a bunch of veterinarians and clinics that we work with who've been very warm to us and been very helpful to us.
Oh, that's really great. And so are these vet customers now considered like official customers that are paying, or are they more kind of still like trial? And then where are you at with the actual product?
So there, it's still trial. We haven't hard launched yet, and so we aren't charging anybody for anything until we kind of have like a published, a fully published and polished product. And so we're basically just nailing the integration now, and we're making sure that it's seamless and that none of the data is lost in between. Because when you're dealing with something like records for pet healthcare and for clinics and things like that, there are a number of like legal implications and things that you have to keep in mind. And so there's a zero margin for error in terms of that. And so mhm,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah, I think that's a really interesting point. So speaking on the legal side of things, like how are you going about understanding whether or not something is feasible on the illegal
mhm.
front?
So it's very, there's no HIPAA essentially, but state to state laws totally vary. So you're in California, right?
Hmm.
California has probably the most stringent laws of any state, where it's very, very difficult. So something like this would be significantly less feasible in California. But on the East Coast and a lot of the states over here, approximately 35 states have some code or some specific outlying law, um, that refers to the medical records of pets. And a lot of them are based on the consent of the pet owners. So and also like goodwill, of course. And so you kind of need to get the explicit consent of the people using the platform to let you as a third party own those records and make sure you're doing the right things with them essentially. Mhm.
Mm. I guess the precedent here would be insurance companies, right? I recently signed Birdie up for
Mhm.
Trupanion. It's one of the older insurance companies, and I was very surprised how quickly they were able to get all of Birdie's medical records without me even inputting them. I'm like, where did you even get that information from? So it sounds like during the sign up process, they were able to like get my consent. I probably agreed to something without like, without knowing. And then they were able to get it from all the different vets that we visited. So it has been done, and it's honestly pretty convenient.
Yeah, exactly. So for on the side of the pet owner, it certainly is. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Well, as we wrap up this podcast, and we definitely need to have you back because I'm sure in a year or in two, this, Spoodle is going to look so different because right now it's a minimum viable product. So I'm excited for where you guys are going to go. And so I would like to end with, what would you say has been the most challenging thing so far? And what would you wish somebody told you when you first started?
I would say the most challenging thing so far has been not having all of the different work streams kind of in the same exact place. So it always feels like there's one of them is the fire to put out, whether, oh my gosh, when we were in development, here's this huge issue and we need to kind of figure out, the way around this, or just in terms of like outreach and things like that. There's always kind of one thing that's pressing, and as long as you're doing the right things and you're getting the right feedback, just reminding myself that like, okay, I wish I would tell myself like, it won't always be like this. Things stabilize and you kind of figure them out as you go. And yeah, it's the chaos is kind of a part of it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, well, I guess we're lucky in a sense because now there are so many. There's Trello, there's Monday, there's Asana, there's HubSpot. So like thankfully there are some tools that we can lean on, but I totally hear you, especially in the early days. Your process as a business can change like week to week. So much of it is iterating and testing, and you're building and you're improving on that. So that is a really good point, is like you're kind of in the messy middle right now, but it's definitely going to get better, especially as a business grows and as a product matures. And finally, what would you say has been the most rewarding?
The by far the most rewarding, and I am pretty sure you can relate as an entrepreneur, is when you kind of talk to somebody who you'd imagine is like your perfect target audience. So a clinic that's super overburdened by, administrative work, or a pet owner who constantly has to leave the country or has been in a situation where they've needed to produce their pet's medical records in the drop of a hat. And you kind of talk about what you're doing, and then you see that person's eyes light up and you see them kind of say, wow, not only is this something that's going to make my life a lot easier, I've been trying to create my own sort of system or my own sort of workaround that, this is like exactly kind of what I've been looking for. And there's nothing quite like that feeling. And it makes the whole process so special.
I agree, and it's great that you're so close to your customers, and it's not only important to get that feedback on a frequent basis, but it's also good for encouragement for the team to know, what you're working on is so worth it, because somebody in this world, and probably quite a lot of them, are struggling because of the lack of the solution. So yeah, really cool, and thank you, JJ, for joining us. If people want to reach out, or they would like to learn more about Spoodle, what's the best place they can find you?
So my email is jjvo@spoodle.co. And if you just type spoodle.co into your computer, we have a landing page where you can read a little bit about us and kind of, see what we're up to.
All right. Okay. Thanks so much.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Awesome. I think the recording has stopped.
Cool.
That was great. What do you think?
That was a lot of fun. That was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good. It's so good to hear what you're up to. And yeah, I'm just so excited. Like as a pet parent, I suffer from this issue. So really excited for
Totally.
Spoodle.
Yeah. That's what we do it for.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Okay. Well, is there anything I can support you with? I know you asked me about somebody who like was reaching out to vets. I spoke to Arteris founder, and he mentioned that he actually pivoted away from vets as his like primary channel because he has a supplement for
Mhm.
pets and it's still going through trials. So like until the trial results are out, the vets aren't super interested in considering his
Mhm.
supplement. So yeah, so no luck on that side, but I'll keep an eye out for people who are connected with vets. Is there anything else?
So yeah, right now, as I kind of mentioned, we're just making sure that we nail the API
Yeah.
integration so that we don't, have to put out
Okay.
fires retroactively. And
Yeah. Right.
so we're kind of sitting on our hands till then. But yeah, as
Okay.
soon as the vision is eventually to get this to the place where, you know, all basically all the touch points between you and your veterinarian are facilitated on this platform. And so that
Right.
includes some of these clinics can make up to 50% of their revenue on sales and things like that. And so we'll be looking for consumer products like Goodnight Fetcher and, things like that. So yeah, we'll keep in touch. And as we kind of get this thing going, we start rolling out more features. Yeah, I'm excited to keep. Mhm. 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 Sorry, I think the audio cut out.